My name's Adam Duggins. I'm the current board chair here at the Science Center. We are so excited to have all you folks here. This is really a culmination of a generation of effort to get us to where we are. So really excited about this. Really excited to see Rev Ridge, if you haven't seen it so far. First, I'd like to recognize our elected officials and thank them for being here. Congresswoman Kathy Manning, State Senator Michael Garrett, I thought I saw Michael somewhere, State Senator Dave Craven, State Senator Amy Gailey, there you are right there, from the City of Greensboro, Mayor Vaughan, there you are, sorry, I was looking for you, also from City of Greensboro, Councilman Justin Outling, and then Councilwoman Tammy Thurm, I saw right over there. And from city staff's tremendous. We got a couple folks there. David Parrish, our outgoing city manager, and then our incoming interim city manager, Chris Wilson. So the way this has all worked is it's a partnership between Greensboro and private donors, and so everything you're about to see behind you is a combination of those donors and the City of Greensboro. So the donors who made this possible, including all our major exhibit donors, Jim and Lynn Bergio and family, hey guys, Sue Cole and her family, Sue's not here, our former board chair, the Dillard Fund, which I saw some folks from them over there, the Duke Energy Foundation, John and Carol Matthews and family, Bob and Robin Shear, right over there. Sig and Ellen Tannenbaum. And then our partners in construction, architecture, and landscaping, Samet, who's been a tremendous partner for us for many years. I see Arthur over there and a few other folks over there, so thank you. Lindsay Architecture. And then Surface 678 for the landscape. I'll turn it over to the more important speakers here in a second. I just want to tell just a quick story. In 1991, the City of Greensboro and private donors here at the Science Center started this idea of this public-private partnership. Up to that point, the Science Center had been open. It was the Natural Science Center of Greensboro. It had been open for about 30 years. I have a lot of affinity for that. There used to be an old bison down there, the old dinosaur room. But because of those folks individually in that room who came together for this vision of what this could be, this public-private partnership could be, a 10-year-old who was there at the time, that was me, okay, who was on a field trip with Joyner Elementary, who was enjoying it. 30 years later, I get to take my 10-year-olds for this. And for me, that's a generation. That's a generation of vision. I'm very humbled by that because that's all the city leaders who took care of us over the years and all the donors who took care of us. And so what I get excited for is not only what we're about to see here and taking my 10-year-olds, but hopefully 30 years from now, my 10-year-olds are taking their 10-year-olds and my grandchildren here, and we're doing the same thing because we're continuing to invest in this asset. So I think this asset makes us truly differentiated from anything in this region. And it's so exciting for me to see what's happening and what's going to happen. With that, I'm going to introduce Ramsey Hamadi. Ramsey is the CEO at Triad Business Bank. Last summer was scary, right? Last summer was a very nervous time, and if you're in the business of tourism, it was even harder. And we entered the fall, and it was scary. We were building the largest expansion in our history, and we didn't have as many people coming through the gates as we thought we were going to. And we needed a partner in a bank to step up and help us continue to make that happen and continue to see what could be. And I have to give it to Triad Business Bank. They were unbelievable through that process in August, September, October. And y'all remember what that was like. And so for us to have a partner like them, we are so grateful. So with that, I will turn it over to Ramsey.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you also to everyone who made today possible. Amanda, thank you for all the arrangements. I want to tell everyone this is quite an honor for me to just say a few words this morning and tell you that, as a father of 4 who are now adults, my second youngest graduated high school this year, and I reached out to Glenn earlier this year because my son was doing a senior thesis, and he came to me one day and said, "Dad, I want to do it on genetic editing." And he started talking in a language I didn't understand. So, anyway, long and the short of it is he needed a mentor, and so I reached out to Glenn, and he was very kind and helped me connect. But the broader story in that is I have 4 kids, and all of them are STEM related focus in their careers, and I just can't begin to imagine, kind of like Adam, what did this place mean to them when they were young. And so it was a real honor to me when this last summer I heard that there was an opportunity to come and perhaps help you all with your vision. And I will tell you, at difficult times, to have leaders step up, have continuity of leadership, and have the leadership to fulfill a vision when things are difficult. One of the things I noticed about Glenn and his team is just the unwavering confidence that they had in where they were going. And I will tell you, I'm proud that this Science Center is in our community, that it is impacting young people the way that it is truly a center for scientific research and stimulus for people who come and visit. So thank you, Glenn. Thank you to your entire team for what you do. You make Greensboro a better place, and we're proud of it. Triad Business Bank, we've only been open for about a year, and Arthur, thank you for helping us make this happen. Arthur's one of our board members, and I will tell you, there was nothing in any of the strategic plans that said, we'll open the bank on March 16th and the world will shut down within a week after opening the bank. So we still, to this point, haven't had our own, ribbon cutting. But I will tell you, sometimes things are bigger than you and bigger than your plans. And I think that's probably true with the Science Center. For us, within days of opening the bank, the CARE Act was passed, and literally the community was in need of financial stability. And for our bank, we helped over 350 businesses in a short period of time. And it was a time and place that I will always be proud of. And I am very proud that we were able to come in and partner with the Science Center. And I just can't imagine. I tend to think we must be in the middle of a plan, and I can't imagine what this plan is going to look like 10 years from now. So thank you.
Thank you again, Ramsey. It truly was. I can't overstate how big it was to have a partner like Triad Business Bank in the fall of last year. Next up, I'm going to introduce our incoming interim city manager, Chris Wilson. Chris has been a vocal advocate of the Science Center for many years, and his vision for both the Science Center but the greater BPD project, or Battleground Parks District, has really been inspiring, and he acts as a real bridge between us and the city, and the terrific relationship that we have. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chris.
Okay, so I know not to compete with pygmy hippos or the gibbons, so I'll be brief. But I do want to make a few remarks, especially as it relates to this team. So you'll hear us talk a lot about leadership. You'll hear us talk a lot about the relationship between the city and all the wonderful members and donors of the Science Center. But Glenn and his team are the visionaries for what you see here today. And so I want to just take a minute and give a round of applause for Glenn and his team. I will say selfishly, in addition to that, Glenn is a motivator of Chris Wilson too. Before I ever agreed to help out on an interim basis. Before I did what I did this weekend, I sought Glenn's advice, and I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate the friendship and partnership we've had over this many years. I want to thank you. I want to thank you and the whole team for continuing to vision to broaden this experience, to vision to enhance the attraction and see beyond the present. Today is really a testimony of what can be. What you'll see today is more than just a new exotic species, even though that is incredibly cool. You'll see more than exhibits that promote learning and understanding of the world around you, even though that is phenomenal. You know, some years ago, Glenn and his team walked into a situation where they were looking at what was really a petting zoo and an antiquated museum at the time. It was well loved. It was loved to death, let's say. But it was somewhat stagnant in where it was. And they brought a vision. That vision has created a top tourist attraction for Greensboro, North Carolina, and the state of North Carolina. That's incredible. You know what I'll say is, this is what happens when you allow yourself to vision, to look past the present. To me, that's what Greensboro is all about. We make history here. We've made history many times, and it was because of bold leadership, innovation, and a bravery to move forward. Seeing what the future can hold and acting through that leadership and innovation gives us things like you'll see today. Today really marks the beginning of another Greensboro moment for what can be. In a few short weeks, we'll break ground to create the first elements of the Battleground Parks District, of which I'm incredibly proud of. It's a vision that Nasha McCrae, Jim Westmoreland, David Parrish, Glenn, many people here, our council members, all work together on. And it'll be part of a 400-acre top tourist attraction for Greensboro, North Carolina. And that was a vision, to make a bigger, one-of-a-kind destination. And just think, that's only the beginning. From my position, I get the distinct privilege of seeing all the what can be in Greensboro. And I hope what you see here today will remind you to never stop striving, because all great things start with a vision. Gibbons agree. And honestly, that's what makes Greensboro the greatest place to be. I thank you so much for your support, and I thank you, Glenn, and your team.
Chris, thank you. Thank you for all you've done and continue to do for the city of Greensboro and for BPD. Next up, Councilman Justin Outling. Justin's a friend, been an advocate of the Science Center for many years, and we appreciate his support. Here you go.
Well, good morning. It is really an honor and pleasure to be here this morning. I'm Justin Outling, here on behalf of the members of the Greensboro City Council, Councilwoman Tammy Thurm, obviously Mayor Nancy Vaughan. You know, when I'm asked to speak at different events, I oftentimes have to think, which hat am I going to wear? I will be 100% transparent. That is really hard today. I was asked to make comments from the perspective of Greensboro City Council. However, every time I come through the entrance of the Science Center, I may start as a council person, but I'm kind of instantly transformed to, first and foremost, a dad of 2 young children and a kid at heart myself. And as a community leader, I know that this is a really big deal. This is going to have a tremendous impact on our local economy and improve our quality of life. But I can't stop thinking about the Gibbons, obviously, and for Revolution Ridge, those cute pygmy hippos. They are really, really cute. And also as someone, as a young child, that really loved Jurassic Park, the Caraways, I mean, they are modern day velociraptors, so really looking forward to that as well. As Interim City Manager Wilson stated, this is really significant and a culmination of years and years of work. And with the opening of Revolution Ridge, it's elevating the Science Center and by extension, elevating our Greensboro community. That is evidenced in a whole lot of different ways. One of which is, look at all the visitors that already come to the Science Center from every nook and cranny in North Carolina. It's also measured by looking at all the smiles on the faces of children like my Clark and Clara, seeing them curious, explore, learn, perhaps like Ramsey, get a job one day in STEM and get off the family payroll. But it's all wonderful things that don't happen but for the efforts of the Science Center and its tremendous leadership, including wonderful and generous supporters and donors. So, I very frequently say to my wife Cora after we visit the Science Center, I can't wait to see what they do next. That remains true, but today, hopefully you and I both can enjoy what's here right now, the wonderful Revolution Ridge, and express our appreciation on behalf of the entirety of Greensboro to all the board members, the wonderful volunteers, the donors, the leadership at the Science Center who make this tremendous asset happen, as well as the Gibbons, obviously. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin, for those kind words. Next up, I will introduce Mayor Nancy Vaughan. Mayor Vaughan has been a tremendous advocate of us for many years and a big supporter, and we appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much. It is my absolute pleasure to be here, and you're going to hear a reoccurring theme because this is such a great place to be. The last ribbon cutting we did involved a zip line, and Chris Wilson and I were the first ones to do Skywild. And at that point, we really thought how the Science Center had really gone the extra mile. But now with the opening of Revolution Ridge, it is bringing a whole new view to the city of Greensboro. We talk a lot about our children. I brought my children here well over 30 years ago. I had a son who was a really big dinosaur enthusiast. So, obviously we had to go to the dinosaur room. And then we went out to the petting zoo, and there were some goats and chickens and a few other things. But that was kind of it. But it was the trip that we all took. Now I get to take my grandchildren here. I've got a granddaughter and a grandson, and we just came here a few weekends ago. And they were able to see the new exhibits and play in the tree houses. When Glenn and I did our tour around Revolution Ridge, we stopped and talked to some of the people, and I asked one of the moms, how often do you come to the Science Center? She said she comes 4 times a week. 4 times a week with her little girl to see the exhibits, to play on the tree houses, and she said this is such an amazing amenity. One thing that I'm really proud of is that the Science Center really looked at making this accessible to all people. And people who are on EBT and SNAP, they're going to be able to come in for $5 a ticket. And I think that's really important, that Greensboro is a place not only for other people throughout the country to come, but from people right here in our own backyard. This is a great public-private partnership, and I want to thank all of the private donors because this couldn't have been done without you. It also couldn't have been done without the bonds and the trust with the people of the city of Greensboro. I know that this is going to continue to evolve, and to do that, we're going to look at more bond funding for what's next to come. We all know Glenn and his vision is limitless. This is economic development. People come here to see this property, to do the zip lines, to see the animals. We talk about career paths. There's going to be a really wonderful exhibit here, and it's the veterinary services. You'll be able to see everything in a completely transparent view. Maybe a little too transparent for some people. If you've got a little stomach upset, you may not want to watch the operations or the autopsies, but it is going to show people a different career path. I want to thank Glenn. When I talked to him about the Chief's initiative for 500 jobs, he immediately said that he would take 5 summer students. This will give them an opportunity to see jobs that they wouldn't normally think of, to broaden their horizons. This is such a great place on so many different levels. I often wonder if the people of Greensboro realize what a jewel we have. So it is my pleasure to be here, and I do want to thank Glenn for keeping the pendulum up, because I remember seeing that the first time, and it's nice to see a little bit of history. But this is such an amazing Revolution Ridge. I am so excited for people to see not only the old dinosaur exhibit, but a living descendant of the dinosaurs. So this is something that's got something for everyone. And I want to thank you for being here. Did I hit the volume? I can use my outside voice because we are outside. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and the best is yet to come.
I guess so. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for those kind words. And let's give it one more time for the city of Greensboro. Two other groups I just want to mention real quick. We have a number of board members here today who I didn't acknowledge earlier. I know a bunch of faces over there. I am very humbled to serve with them, to volunteer out here. So let's give it up for our board. But I want everybody to just take a second and look back there, because you can see all the staff, right? And they're the ones who make this magic happen. So all this could not happen without the man with the plan, the man with the vision. And all our speakers have said such kind words about Glenn, and I think a lot of them said, and I think you can't say enough about him. He's what inspires me to be out here. I think he's what inspires many of us, both from a private and public partnership. So with that, I'll turn it over to Glenn.
Well, you may have noticed a few minutes ago I was distracted from behind. That was our cassowary female who has velociraptor-like claws, acting up a little bit. I didn't want to make sure that she wasn't going to come out here and turn this into something we didn't want it to be today. So, but we're all good. She's calmed down. We're in great shape now. So, obviously, I feel humbled beyond belief right now. Not only because of the kind words said, but the fact that in 2006, we unveiled a plan, Science City USA plan, and we kind of started working on it in 2008. And since that point, the trajectory has been stunning for this community. So I want to step back a second, and from my perspective, what would Greensboro be like if the Science Center didn't exist? What would this be like here? What void would be out there? So Greensboro is a wonderful population of, say, 300,000 people. Great quality of life, great green space, limited traffic, all the great things about the city. Ever since we put this plan in action, since that point, 5 million plus people have driven up Lawndale Drive or are now coming across on the loop. 5 million people to a city of 300,000. They're coming here. 70% of them are not from here. They're from other counties. True economic development. That's humbling. They're coming to Greensboro. If we're blessed to execute the next 10 years, the Gateway Project, we estimate over a 10-year period, somewhere between 6 and 8 million more people coming up Lawndale, coming up the loop, and coming into Greensboro. Not just coming here, going down the road to downtown, other great cultural attractions of our community. It's working. That golden triangle, we call it, between downtown, the Battleground Parks District, the Coliseum, is a tourism hub like nothing else. The potential is still stunning for the future. So, add BPD to that, the Battleground Parks District. All those millions of people are coming to 35 acres. 35 acres, which we're sitting on today. Add 400 more acres to that, and the millions of people that want to come to that, then they spend their money and they go home again, making the quality of life even better for us. So when we first started this, and we were blessed with the first bond in 2009, we did an economic impact study that showed we were having an impact recurring every year about $11 million. So every year, $11 million being generated by us existing here. We just ran that again. If you add the construction behind me, it was over $120 million, but 77 million of that is recurring. So every year by these 35 acres out here, 77 million, 77 million, 77 million. That adds up. If we execute this, I think it's a piece of cake to jump over $100 million a year in recurring economic impact. But all that's important. Love the economic impact. It's extremely important to everyone here. But now push that aside. Don't even think about the economic impact piece of that. And probably the reason most of us are here, the educational impact. The millions of kids that have come through here, and the pipelines of the university in science right now, somewhere 18-20%. How many did we reach? Looking into the stars, looking into the animal's eyes, whatever their passion was, how many did we reach? I'm guessing millions. You just never know where those paths are going to take you. We got into this to change people's lives through science. What a better lens. What has this past year taught us more than anything is the significance and the importance of science in our lives. Yet, only about 8% of Americans consider themselves science-minded. I find that sad. I find that stunning. And places like this help change that. Someone sent me a cartoon this morning. They're old Calvin and Hobbes, I think. And it said, little boy sitting there, how do I know, when will I understand the meaning of life? It's a great question. I'm sure we ever will. But I started thinking about it. What age should I understand the meaning of life? And I started thinking about that, and my whole life with my dad as a scientist and figuring things out, career trajectories, and watching hundreds of thousands of families come through here on an annual basis, I think the answer is 3. The age of 3. Because that's the age where you're not distracted by your cell phone, by life, by bills, by work, by all the tensions that modern society put upon us. A 3-year-old comes in here, goes over to that scrapyard over there, picks up a rock, and finds fascination in a rock. Because that rock is billions of years old. They can see something different. They walk into our tree houses and look at life around them. They look into the eyes of our cassowaries, whatever it happens to be. That 3-year-old is a sponge for science. Absolute sponge. Yet I think as we get older, we lose that. Hopefully not, but I think we do. And so, what is that perfect life age when we understand life? I'm thinking 3. So I'm hoping we all devolve a little bit and become more like 3-year-olds and become those sponges again. So educational impact, emotional and family impact. If you came out here during Winter Wonderlights this past year, the COVID year, you saw the tears, you saw the hugs of people like, thank you for doing something after this horrible year of being isolated. It was tremendous family and emotional impact. I've never seen anything like it. I knew Winter Wonderlights would be great, and it's going to be even better now as it expands into this space. But that emotional impact was incredibly important this past year, and I think that'll continue to be as we continue to evolve this organization. What very few people know about is our conservation impact. Just by being an educational facility, people think deeper about all the things and animals and things we provide here, but little do people know that we're actually funding endangered species programs around the globe. Lindsay and her team have gone to remote islands we make fun that it's like going to a sandals resort. It's not. And are working to conserve species on these remote islands of the Caribbean. So our conservation impact is growing every single day. Our Greensboro brand and marketing impact. Now, you can't pick up a brochure about Greensboro and not see a tiger or something on there that says, come to this city. We have something unique, a 3-in-1 destination, a zoological park, an aquarium, and a science museum, and Sky Wild, a future zip line, all those things combined, a very versatile, diverse organization. As already been mentioned, our vision impact. It's humbling now, because 15 years ago, I was told by leaders in the community, you need to be more like Charlotte. You need to be more like Raleigh. And our attitude was like, no, we don't. That's crazy. We want to be more like Greensboro. We want to take things that we have here and make them better, make them more pronounced, make them more attractive to visitors to come here. So our vision impact is really focused on this community. What does this community need through that lens of science? And I think we've fulfilled it fairly well. But in the words of Karen Carpenter, we've only just begun. I can guarantee you that. And then lastly, probably the most important is the partnership impact. Our partnership with the city, unbelievable. Unbelievable cooperation that just makes this organization tick and keeps us moving forward. The fact that we were able to get a $20 million bond when we probably weren't trusted much at that point, and then our board and our team doubled that and raised $20 million to match it. That's pretty amazing, and that's what you're seeing here today. Our donors, I mean, for people to take their hard-earned money and give it to us, it's beyond humbling, and I cannot thank you enough for wanting to invest in this organization. And we every day try to do what's right with those dollars in very efficient ways to create a $15.5 million zoological expansion that in any other city, they're probably talking $25 to $30 million. So we stretch it. Thank you, Salmon. Our members, we have over 20,000 members that reinvest in us every single year. Now granted, they come out here 4 times a week, which we love, but that's the whole point, is keep coming out here, exposing your kids to science every single day. Our board, best board in Greensboro, I can say that. Just humbled that they put, they trust the staff with some crazy ideas sometimes. And we appreciate that very, very much, because we don't think they're crazy, but they might be out there a little bit, but we've made it work. And then lastly, to my incredible team, I hate the word staff. This sounds like an infection, staff, we need to get away from the COVID talk. This team back here, none of this would happen. I mean, I get all the credit, and it drives me insane because I don't deserve it. They do, because they're the ones here every day, 7 days a week, busting their tails for this organization. So let's move on. I'd like to invite all of our donors on the list that know they're going to be part of the ribbon cutting, as well as our city friends. Kathy, I'd like you to come up here as well. We're going to cut a ribbon and signifying the absolute and final completion of a vision that started 16 years ago. And this will signify the end of that and the beginning of the Gateway Project, the next 10 years of total and complete transformation of tourism in the city of Greensboro. So everybody come on up. All right, so a huge thank you to everybody out here. Welcome to Revolution Ridge. Perfect. Please keep your ribbon if you have it. Thank you, everybody, and we'll move all the stuff, and people are free to wander down. Just watch out for those velociraptors.